Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is one of the Italian tank destroyers, the SMV CC 64 Vipera. It's a tier 8 Italian premium tank destroyer. It's located on the north spawn of Overlord and it's under the command of the BassmanFromHell. Now he's loaded his magazine full of 50 rounds of standard AP. He's got a 5-shot autoloader with a turret. It's a bit like the Bosch, this one, and it's capable of doing 400 alpha, penetrating 220mm of armor. Oh dear, manners please. That 7032 was just too eager to get down to the beach and try and kill some enemies down there. I think one of the drawbacks of this tank destroyer is that it actually does have rather a long time in reload. 34.52 seconds is the standard reload, and well, Bassman's managed to get that down to about 31, so he's knocked a few seconds off, but it's still a long time to wait when you've got no shells. And I think there are other tanks that have the similar sort of waiting time, such as the Lorraine 40 ton. And he also has fairly light armor. This thing actually does have heavy armor at the front of the vehicle, 210 at the front, 275 at the front of the turret as well, 100 sides on the hull and 160 on the turret. So it's fairly well armored on the side, but you can penetrate it if you're another tank destroyer. Okay, well, the enemy spotted him and he's come up to the cliff edge, because there are enemy on the beach that he wants to shoot at, and there's a few on the cliff edge as well. There's an FP4202 a short distance away. There's a Vipera down below him. Now that Vipera, the same as his, has got a gun elevation of 21.17 degrees, so he's not able to shoot up, but we've got a gun depression of 10 degrees. Now we might be able to shoot down if we can get the right angle by dropping the nose over the cliff edge. Oh, lovely! First kill of the game goes to Bassman, and he takes out the FP4202. Somebody else hit him just before we did, or just before Bassman did, and managed to get the kill. But I think he's gone onto this ledge now, and I don't think he can get himself off it. You'll have to go forward if you're going to get off. Yeah, he's suddenly worked that one out. It's very awkward, that one. Okay, we've got some enemies down below. Oh, took a round from an ISM. It didn't pen though. It would have done 390. There's also a Hawk 30 down below, and he's rushing to get off the beach before he gets hit. Okay, we might be able to get that Vipera now, but he's having to lean over the edge. First shot is a low roll for 372. That's 6-second intra clip, and he's got the kill. So he's only got one round left. Does he go for the reload? Yep, he's popping the reload. Now I can't tell you anything about the Italian tank destroyers other than the fact of their statistics. I don't know if they were genuine, real tanks or if they're fake tanks that have been made up by wargaming. They've not been very forthcoming about the history of these vehicles, so I don't have much to go on. It's noticeable though that this is not the only turreted tank destroyers in the game. Of course, it's not just the Italians, the Czechs have got turreted tank destroyers as well. Okay, that's good. Takes out the ISM who hit us. So he's got 3 kills now. Who's next? Well, something you may have noticed on the mini-map is the enemy has actually been doing rather well. Whilst we've been down on the beach, the enemy's been invading the east side of the map. In fact, it's under their control now. And so things are not going too well. We're down by 2, and the enemy has got position. Scorpion G, 1 shot, easily knocked him. And there's another enemy Vipera. We managed to bounce his shell. He was firing standard AP. There are enemy tanks in the cap. Oh, just took a hit from a Shrek. And he's hit us again. Ouch. Just under 500 hit points gone. 484. And there's a Chrysler K above us as well. That's heavily armored at the front. The good news, you could say, is that we found somebody to play with. Yeah, the SU-130PM on our team has got a much quicker reload than we do. And so even if we're in reload, he should be able to protect us. But of course, he has no armor either. Okay, there's that Hawk, the one that we saw on the beach. It's gone behind the building, so I'm not sure we can get a shot at him at the moment. Oh, LT-432, nice snap. Got him, hit him. And we took a round from the Hawk. Missed the T-103 and he just ram-killed our 252. But now he's vulnerable. One in the side. He's a one-shot now. We can take him out with the next round. He does put one into us, but we fire back and he's out the game. And the enemy Arty is an FV207. He is firing in our direction. Unfortunately, we've lost our Arty. He was a school bus, but he is no more. The SU-14-2. I think he got caught out by the enemy tanks. We're still 2 down on the enemy. Unfortunately, we're still losing tanks though. Okay, there's the enemy Vipera. So Bassman's put himself between the Vipera and the SU-130PM to protect him. And can he use this 10 degrees of gun depression? Well, not easy there. Might be able to now. No. Remember what I said about that strong frontal armor? Very, very strong indeed. 275mm on the turret, 210 on the hull. Very difficult to pen. But there is a Ferdinand. Now, can we get through his armor? Yes, we can. And a big penetration, 404 high roll. Get this Vipera? No. So we can finish off the Ferdinand. Oh, well, we don't have to because the SU-130PM's done it for us. Bassman's got 5 kills. If he can get one more, he does get the Top Gun. That would be rather nice. Still 2 down on the enemy. Well, he did the big mistake because he opened his side to us. And now we can go for the kill shot. Yes! That's a Top Gun. And the SU-130PM just killed the Hawk, who tried to come around the corner and wipe us out. But we did take a round in the tracks from the M41D, the Chinese black Walker Bulldog. I should say the Taiwanese Walker Bulldog, because it is Taiwanese, not Chinese. Well, the M41 just got taken out by our Vipera, the other Vipera from the beach. But we just lost the SU-130PM to the Chrysler. So now it's 2 left on either side. So we have equalized the scores. And Spaceman's been doing most of the killing because he's got 6. The Chrysler has 4. He's the high scorer on their team. And here he is. Okay, now hit the sides of these things if you can. Gets it. And potential high caliber, 20% of the enemy hit pool. Now, can you get that side again? It's funny because the Chryslers always seem to angle to protect themselves. Oh, that was just a splash. 17 hit points. That hit the front. Try to get the sides if you can, or straight through the drive wheel. That will do the job. Oh, lovely one! That was perfect. Right through the corner. Top corner. Must have gone through the drive wheel, taking him out. So that's 7 kills. There's only 1 enemy left. And the other Vipera's come up to help us now. We're in reload. So it's 1 FV207 that we want to kill. And that will be a Radley Waters and the game. I actually heard from the bassman today. He actually showed us a video of a very quick battle that he played. Well, not quick because he speeded it up, but he told me he was trembling with the stress of holding the battle and winning the battle when he was outnumbered. So he definitely had the shakes, and I know because, you know, you feel that when you feel a big responsibility. And there's the FV207. Oh, and he got a fire! And that is the game and a Radley Waters. Well done, bassman. Here's the end of battle results, and that was the first ace tanker for the BassmanFromHell in the SMV CC 64 Vipera. You can tell it's the first one because you got the banner underneath. You only get the scrolls if it's the first one, so well done. He also picked up a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He got an arsonist because he set light to that FB207 right at the end of the game. He also picked up a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 10 in that one. And he got a shell proof as well for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He got an epic medal. He got the Radley Waters medal for killing 8 enemy vehicles. On top of that, he got the high caliber for dealing the most damage, a top gun for getting at least 6 kills, and he also got the steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game. And look at that win rate, 7,028. A very, very good game indeed. And considering they were down through most of the game, they were behind, but they managed to claw it back. And even though the enemy actually won the field, the enemy lost it when they came up against Bassman and his friend in the SU-130 PM. Let's have a look at team score. Well, there you go. Bassman's right at the top of the table with 4,458 hit points. The nearest player to him was the SU-130 PM and his own team. 3,049 went to him. And the third highest damage was that Shrek, the one who kept shooting at us and got 500 hit points out of Bassman. And he managed a win rate of 3,152, but he didn't get any medals. He got 2,306 hit points in third place. When it came to kills, Bassman easily won that one. He carried the stupids on his team. Well, not that I'm calling the SU-130 PM stupid, but yes, he did carry them on that team because he got 8 kills, which is more than the rest of the team put together. The second highest was the Chrysler K on the enemy team, got 4 kills. And then 2 kills went to the SU-130 PM, one of the other tank destroyers. I think that's also the Vipera, the other Vipera. And also the Shrek on the enemy team, and there's Scorpion G. And when it came to base XP, he's got that one as well. He got 1,664, which, as you know, is now an ace tanker. 1,020 went to the SU-130 PM, and those are the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 in that game. The third place going to the LT432 with 839. He fired 21 rounds in that game, all of them standard AP. 16 direct hits on the enemy and 14 penetrations. 4,458 hit points of damage, of which all of it was at less than 300 meters, all of it close range. 12 hits received from the enemy, only 3 of them actually penetrated, and 2 of those were from the Shrek, and he actually fired through the side as the bassman was trying to reposition himself to avoid getting his front to his side to the enemy. He wanted to present a front, but he needed to be next to the cliff to stop the Chrysler coming over the edge and shooting into his side. So 8 non-penetrations and 1 hit by way of splash from the FB207. He also got 2,470 hit points of damage blocked by armor, and that gave him the steel wall. And of course, the combination of it being 12 hits received, that's over the 11 that he needed to get the steel wall. 10 enemy vehicles were damaged, 8 were killed, 362 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 127,778 credits from the game, and after repair and ammunition resupply, of course, standard ammo throughout, 102,422 credits profit. 25 bonds because, well, in mission completion, 2,496 XP, 19,968 for completing a mission, 260 for being a premium vehicle, 250 actually, and took away 22,714 credits or experience points from that game. So his skills are going to jump considerably, considering this is a premium vehicle. So well done to the baseman for his game. I said that we've got 2 right from the start. I think I mentioned that. Let's have a look at the second replay. Before we do the second replay, it might be helpful if I showed you the armor on this vehicle. I've got the collision model up to start with, because obviously you can see the gradations in the armor this way. It's much easier to see. You can see the lower plate's actually quite good. 240mm there, coming out 295 with angling. Upper plate is 210, coming out 244. The front plate here next to the mantlet is 275mm. That's the tough bit right at the front I mentioned. So it's very difficult to pen there because that's coming out at 288 in total. And this area here, well, you're more than likely going to bounce around off if he's looking directly at you. It's only actually if the gun changes its angle that it actually becomes slightly easier to pen. And if I do that, you can see why. 160mm becomes 178 that way. But if I put the gun in the center, like that, and then move this round, you can see then from this angle, 160mm becomes 454. So it's very difficult to penetrate this thing from the front unless you can get it onto the roof, and then you've got a ricochet problem. But it's also, you can possibly overmatch the armor. It's 14mm of armor raked back at a very tough degree. So you'd have to have a 120mm or greater caliber shell in order to penetrate through that armor. There are some weak spots on top because you've got the viewports as well. So they are spots you can aim at if you try to get a pen. If you can shoot from below, you might be able to get it through this plate here because it's only 20mm, coming out at 21. If you're shooting directly from the front, again, 22mm. So you can penetrate that bit of the lower plate, but you can't get the bit directly above it because that's 240mm, as I said, coming up to 260. So it's a little stronger. Okay, the sides of the vehicle are a little easier to penetrate because it's only 140mm, and it goes down to 100 as you go further back. In fact, it's actually down to 60 if you can aim between the tracks and get a shot in that way. So shooting through the drive wheel on one of these will not only immobilize the hull, but it might actually penetrate the side. But the problem is you've got to contend with the turret. But the turret can only go back 45 degrees either side, so it's not a fully rotating turret. So if you can get below a certain angle or behind the turret, the tank destroyer can't turn its turret fully to actually engage you. Anyway, the rear of the vehicle is very porous. You can see that. 450mm of armor, fairly slab-sided as well, and coming out at about the same value. So yes, this thing is very, very front-heavy on the armor. If we go to the light model, because you can see, oh, look at that, red or purple, meaning it's very difficult to pen. But the moment you over-angle this thing, it does become easier to pen. So watch that, the angle you actually take. And remember, it does have that 45 degrees, so you can engage targets round at this angle, but you are leaving the enemy to shoot into a weak side because it's only 140 there, and they can get through, or they can go through the drive wheel area and get it through that way. So, unfortunately, Wargaming have not provided a module map, so we don't know where everything is. All we can guess is that the engine is at the back because there is a big radiator fan directly here. And of course, we do know there's an autoloader in this one. It's a 5-shot autoloader. So the mechanism would have to be in the turret, and more than likely it would be at the back. We can tell that we've got the driver up here on the front in the turret. The gunner is on the left-hand side, and the commander is directly behind that, which leads us to believe that the loader would actually be somewhere back here as well. At least I think there's a loader, if I remember correctly. We can normally check that. Yes, there is a loader. So, yes, there is a loader, but we don't have a hatch for him on that. So presumably he actually goes out through the back of the turret or goes out through somebody else's hatch instead. The second replay is on the Mines map, North Spawn, and this time round it's PGTraitor who's behind the wheel. Well, technically speaking, he's not behind the wheel. He's in the commander's hatch area, but yeah, it's his game. Now, because this has got heavy armor on the front, it is the sort of tank destroyer that you can use up close and personal with the enemy. Not the sort of tank destroyer that hides at the back. It's more like an assault tank destroyer, but it still does have some weak spots, so you don't really want to let the enemy catch your side. And it looks like the south spawn tanks have managed to get into the hill before us. Now, it's not very fast, 30 kilometers an hour top speed, so a bit sluggish, and going into the castle here right now could be dangerous. So hopefully what he's going to do instead is try and use this position to shoot at the enemy. Didn't get a shell into the Emil. Ooh, yes, did get that one into the CC67. This one, tier 8 game. CC67 is the tier 8 tech tree one, I believe, not the premium. Now the good news for the moment is that we do have an enemy, we do have control of the castle, because the enemy that did go in either had to get out quick or get wiped out. In fact, they got wiped out. The AMX 1375 and the AMD 178B are out of the game. So we're 4 up on the enemy at the moment. And can he get a shot? Not easy on that KB5. He's going to have to try and get a shot on the Dalek if he can. Might be able to get an angle from over here. Unfortunately, the CC67 is kind of getting in the way. He managed to get himself killed in a rather odd angle. Ah, now we can see an enemy Jackson right at the back. He's auto-aimed on. Oh, didn't get it. And he's now electing to go after the KV5. One into the weak spots. Took a hit in the tracks, but it's pulled back. He did burn his repair kit though. Tiger. Easily go through this guy. Now, did he track him? Well, no need, because he's out the game now. And that's the first kill. Oh, I can hear the RC shell coming. But from this position, it's actually fairly difficult for the enemy to get the shot in, because the towers on that wall do block the way. The enemy team has got an M12 as their Arty. Our Arty is a GW Panther. And looks like our AMD 178B is going for it, because he's got really close to the enemy. And we're pushing them back. And Skoda T25 took a hit. Managed to get a high roll on that one. 418. KV5. Now it's a good job that he's loaded those premium rounds. Yep, can punch through the KV5. Pumps one into the KV2, but he's low on ammo now. 2 left. And he didn't pen with that. Now he's only got 1 round left, and there's 3 enemies around the corner. In fact, 4, if you take into account the KV3 who's even further north. He's got to try and fake it as if he's loaded. Because remember, he's got a long reload now. He gets that one into the weak spot. He's got 20% of the enemy hit pool. Now he needs to make that KV5 and the KV2 think that he's loaded. Otherwise, they will come after him because they know he's got a plus 30-second reload, 31.65. The M12 did manage to get a hit into his side. You can see where the shell landed, just underneath the turret ring. Varask has managed to deal a death blow to the KV2, and now we've got the KV5. Nice one, straight through the robot, the Dalek. It's moving the Varask out the way because he's got the armor, the Varask doesn't, and he's got the autoloader. And a nice kill on the KV5. Now he's got to deal with the autoloader and the Emil. Pumps one in, doesn't get the kill. He's on reload now though. Unfortunately, we lost our Barasta. You can see the burning wreck just to one side of us. I think the temptation couldn't stop him from poking out, and the Emil was the one who I think got the kill. Okay, so the Emil's a one-shot. If we can get around into him, we should get it. There's only 3 left on the enemy team. They've lost their Arty already. They're all up here. Hello, Mr. Emil. You're next. Oh, he didn't pen. Ow. Took a round in the tracks, but there's the kill shot. So he blocked another shot. Blocked quite a lot of damage so far, 3,240. If he blocks a few more shots, he might actually get a steel wall. Okay, the only tank left on the enemy team's the KV-3. And that's probably got a 122mm gun. There he is. One shot in. And this could be the kill shot to win the game. Yes! That's the victory. Here's the end of battle results, and that was a first-class tanker for PGTraitor in the SMV CC 64 Vipera. He managed to get a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 4, and he also got a fire for effect for doing more damage to the hit points of his own vehicle, and a shell proof for blocking more damage to the hit points of his own vehicle. He did manage to get the steel wall. He did receive more than 11 shots and blocked the most damage in that one, as well as getting a high caliber for getting the most damage in that game overall. And you can see that this thing with plenty of armor at the front, so long as the enemy can't get alongside you to damage you whilst you're reloading, it can be very, very effective and actually protect some of the tanks that do have little armor, blocking damage from other tanks that may be trying to get shots on them, like that Barask. If he'd only stayed behind PGTraitor, he would have ended up surviving the battle, but he had to poke out, and he paid for it. Let's have a look at team score. Okay, well, if we look at this one, we can see on... he called this filth, I don't know why. He managed to get 5,348 hit points out of that game. Easily got the high caliber on that one. The second highest damage went to the SMV on the enemy team. He got 2,134. And the third highest damage was the Batchat. Yes, he got 1,927. When it came to kills, yep, he managed to get that with 4 kills, but he shared it with the SMV on the enemy team. And 3 kills went to the Barask. And when it came to base XP, yep, PGTraitor's the only one to get over 1,000. He got 1,517, but it wasn't enough to get the ace tanker, just a first class on this occasion. We've seen how much you need to get in order to get an ace. It's a little bit higher, just a tiny bit. So he was very, very close to getting an ace tanker in this game. 950 went to the Barask and 736 went to the Object 7032. He fired 19 rounds in this game, got 18 direct hits on the enemy and 15 penetrations, 5,348 hit points of damage, of which 512 were done at more than 300 meters, 13 hits received, 12 of those were non-pens and 1 hit by way of splash, that was from the M12, 3,630 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 4, and did 464 hit points of damage assist. 97,220 credits for the game, 72,915 from personal reserves, 218,745 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, he did use some premium ammo, but he still came out with a profit of 114,959 credits. 1,517 XP, 2,276 from personal reserves, 1,138 from tactical training, 9,104 from personal missions payout, and 228 for this being a premium vehicle. He took away a total of 15,022 experience points altogether. Not quite as many as the baseman. From the baseman did get a Radley, so that does count a little bit higher. But it's still a very good game, and these are nice scores. So 2 great games in the Vipera. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you learned something about the tank destroyer, because I certainly did. I don't want to come up against one of these when he's looking directly at me. In fact, if this thing angles his turret, you know exactly where to hit him. If he actually presents the side of his vehicle, go for the drive wheel. That's the easiest way to pen this thing. But you are going to find it difficult. If you come up against one of these and he's looking directly at you, yeah, it's difficult to pen. You need to get behind him and try and kill him that way. Or if you can't get behind him, you need to disengage, because he has got a very good gun with a 6-second reload, capable of doing 400 alpha. So remember, with 5 shots, he can do 2,000 hit points of damage, but then he's got 30 seconds odd to reload. And during that time, he can be very vulnerable. I hope you enjoyed both those replays. If you did, please give the video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.